Hello again. I want to talk about justice. I spoke about this, I think a little over a month ago when I was working at the other place, and I kept talking about justice because it was somebody who just, I want to talk about justice though. And people talk about karma, and people talk about justice, about people getting their karma, and everybody get their karma. Not everybody, some people know how to clear their karma. So that's what I'm saying. People know more a little bit more than others, but eventually things will change up. You won't get away with stuff forever. Let me say not forever. Okay, but I want to talk about justice though, and taking down criminals and thinking certain criminals and thinking it's justice. You know, justice is not necessarily happening until you take down the main criminals. What I notice is that in certain particular realities, let me say, certain particular worlds, you know, you have like you have your politicians, and I say certain realities because this type of stuff don't exist in everybody's reality, right? So I don't want to say in this world that like everybody see this stuff. Some people, they don't experience this stuff. The world is pretty big, like, you know, and this is not close to their reality. But like, especially United States of America and other crooked, corrupt areas, countries, the biggest criminals are the politicians, are the presidents, and all that other stuff, right? They are the biggest criminals. Like, look at maybe the Zuckerbergs. I don't heard people talk about him and taking people's info from Facebook or whatever, and selling it to third party individuals or whatever. You know, I heard somebody do a commentary on that. I don't get too much into Facebook, but somebody did a little commentary on that. But so that's what I'm saying, and nothing's going to happen to them. Why? Because they have money and power. See, like sex trafficking. What happens to these people that's involved in sex trafficking? Okay, well, you might arrest one or two people that's very small and very insignificant anyway. Somebody who just got paid to go and kidnap some little children or whatever. They probably got paid a few $1,000s, but the big heads, that person is dispensable. So, and I'm not saying that person shouldn't get arrested. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that person should not be arrested. What I'm saying is they're replaceable. So they do these little small arrests to make it seem like really justice is being served. But the fact of the matter is it's not. There's a lot. The biggest people that's involved in a lot of this trafficking, whether it's however trafficking for whatever reason, a lot of these people are very big, powerful people that's involved in this. Ain't nothing happening to them, right? Ain't nothing happening to them until this realm is gone. This realm literally has to be gone and taken over before anything happens to them, because the rules are not for them. The rules are not for them, you know? And people have to decide if they're tired of it or not. The people have to decide. And I don't think people are really tired yet, because I said before, I don't think people really exist. And I heard another lady say this too. A lot of people are dead, like not here, and don't know they're not here. And I'm not talking about dead in the sense that you sleep and you fell asleep and you got you in this simulation. I'm talking about some people are just really gone and they don't know it. You know. Things is happening where people are manipulating stuff to mess with folks' consciousness, and folks are unaware, and that's messing with them more, that's dragging them down more, that's dragging them down further into hell, stuff like that. And when I say further into hell, like you going down lower and lower and lower, you know. So anyway, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't think people are going to, as a collective, I don't know if they're going to get to that point, because a lot of them don't know this stuff is already happening to them. They don't really get how things are being manipulated. It's not so much what you're going to see with your physical eyes, because the physical eyes is mostly see a false reality. And a lot of times stuff is right in front of our faces, whether it's in movies, even in the news. Let me tell you something, the news is full of crap, but it's a lot of coding in news. What I've realized and heard is that a lot of people who are like part of the what you would call the elites, right? People who are what you would call the elites, they watch the news. Why? Because they understand codes. They ain't looking for they're not looking at the news like And like regular people look at the news thinking they telling them the truth. They look at the news because they done built some underground bunkers. Sometimes this was like in 2021 and stuff like that. They done built some bunkers. They buy money. They ready to go. And they look at the news because it's a lot of coding in the news that they understand that the regular people do not understand. Even certain occultists don't understand what they know because the stuff they know is really, really hidden from other occultists. Okay? So anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. This real justice is not really being served. Real justice is not being served until this realm is, or whatever realm that you're in where this type of stuff is still going on. Justice is not going to be served until you have to, justice has to do with your own perception. What I realize is justice, it's really about my own perception of reality that I'm in at that time, not really with somebody else, because everybody else who's in that reality, they're in a part of my reality. They're characters in a part of my reality. I don't know who they are. You don't know who people are. You don't know what they are. What you call them? Some of them NPCs. I think that's what you call them, NPCs. Like they're not really real. They're created in the computer program, and some people are original, and some people are NPCs that don't have like a single, what you call it? Like they don't come with a independent individual type of consciousness, right? So like they're different, but they look like people like anybody else, but they're programmed, But anyway, that's what I mean. So it's not about everybody else doing something. It's really about your perception of reality and stuff. I definitely would caution being in certain places though, where it can be a little harder to raise your consciousness, but it's ways to get around that too if you can't always get away. But anyway, it's definitely important to work on that. But yeah, I was just talking about justice. Because taking down the small people is good, but it's really justice is not going to be served because the problem is not going to ever go away. It's because look who's promoting stuff. When you talk about like when the gases was rising, I didn't have a car at the time, but when the gas prices was getting really high, like it was getting extremely like outrageous. I was hearing little things, and I never cut on the news to like hear the full story, but I was looking at little clips, little news clips on YouTube talking about how people are now stealing gas out of folks' cars and stuff. And it's media that promotes this crap going on. A lot of the stuff, debauchery that happens, that something is created where it gets people to go a little crazy, and then you have all these crimes that follow. The media, it's like the media, they do all kinds of rituals and stuff to promote this. Like you put your energy on whatever's going on, and they use whatever energy that they able to get from you, your attention, and they create some other type of shit going on. They're doing this. They're creating this stuff. And it could be a lie that people are taking, but it might not be a lie, but it could be a lie. It's just to get people in a certain, mindset. It's always so. There, a lot of times the crimes don't stop because a lot of times the media and a lot of people, that have something to gain out of it, they're pushing that type of stuff. They don't want that. They don't want crimes to end. So that's why it won't be justice like that. It's not going to be justice until you release a certain type of reality. Let me say it like that. You release a certain type of reality. Or a certain type of narrative. There just won't be any justice. Okay? And the biggest injustice is what they fucking do in the consciousness that people ain't fucking aware of. Like, people ain't aware of what's happening with consciousness. Now, I told you, somebody else saw this too, but I saw not too long ago that it was 2021. Something happened in 2021. Whereas not so much that something just happened to me, something happened around the world, and somebody else said this too. That, similar things that happen to them, like they seeing similar patterns happen to them that happened to them in 2021. They're seeing these same similar patterns come back. It's like you're reliving 2021 again. And then I saw, okay, it looked like we haven't really gone past 2021, but we think we have. There was a reset in 2020. There was some kind of reset that happened. Something happened. Okay, they keep resetting and resetting. That's the ultimate, to me, that is the ultimate cosmic crime. That's the ultimate cosmic crime, and people are unaware. But is there going to be justice for that? Maybe not if people don't wake up, no. For certain people, it might be justice, but for everybody who's not going to wake up, it's not going to be justice for them. You know? So that's what I'm talking about. Justice ain't no real justice for real. There's no real justice until that type of stuff is taken care of. Like, people are just getting treated any kind of way. They're not given a chance to rise up. If they do try to rise up, everything is going to be done to make sure they do not ascend or whatever you call it. Okay, so you have to do it in a very sneaky way because they're going to make sure they stop you. They're going to make sure they stop. They put the cloud up there to make sure you don't get past a certain level. They put a cloud there to make sure your consciousness don't rise high above a certain type of hive mind. Okay, and then they had everybody take this stuff, so it's best to go into places that's really about, where it's not a lot of Wi-Fi, honestly, where it's not a lot of Wi-Fi, and you have a better chance at, raising your consciousness the way you want to, other than being in the area where it's a lot of 5G and it's a cloud, and then you have people that, you know what I mean. But anyway, and they promoting type of pandemics and stuff, where that consciousness is very, very low if you're in an area like that. And I'm not judging. I mean, I'm in California too. You're in an area where that type of stuff is going on, the consciousness is very, very low, because you cannot go to a place like Tibet or some place like that and promote that same type of crap. They're not having that, right? They're not having no pandemics and wearing masks. And you can't take your behind over there around them doggone monks or whoever and think you're going to promote that crap. That's what I'm talking about. There's a certain type of consciousness that falls for all that stuff. Or maybe they feel like they don't have any control and they got to do whatever they told. Sometimes people feel like they just got to do whatever they told because they're not the one in charge. That's why I say people are not really fully creating their reality, because if you got to do something you really don't want to do because of somebody else making the rules, you're not fully creating your reality. You're only partially doing it. You're not fully creating your own reality. Somebody is still controlling your narrative. And I say that to me too, not just to other people listening. I say that to myself too. But yeah, I just felt like saying that real quick. And I will talk later.